Grant Clayton here, 1% List CEO. Another interesting solo real estate closing arguments episode today. Are you making more than a discount broker? I used to do webinars twice a week, and one of the first things we talked about was how do discount real estate brokers make money? Because your average agent just can't seem to figure out the business model. Like, how do y'all even make money? I hear that a lot. Well, how do you even make money? How do you make money? Okay, well, here you go. Let's talk about it. It's year end. There's so many agents that are going to move in the next month because it's a slow time of year. There's not a lot of deals pending. And most of them are going to say, who's going to give me a better split? And who's going to give me a better cap? Maybe that's not the choice. Maybe it shouldn't be necessarily who's going to give me the best deal to join. Maybe it's a question of where will I make the most money? Agents never seem to ask the question of where will I make the most money? They always ask who's going to give me the best split, the best cap. So, should you be considering something truly different? So let's look at it. One of our agents charging 1% to list a home is going to make between 1.6, 1.9% on average across all their transactions in the year. The reason is because the listings that we take lead to buyers. Sometimes they lead to quick buyers. Sometimes they lead to somebody that wants to see your listing and they're unrepresented, and then they have a house they need to sell before they buy. Sometimes your listings need to buy really quickly so they don't move twice. The point is that listings are opportunity creators. I've said that in just about every video I've ever made. Everybody looks at listings wrong. They are opportunity creators, and buyers are the opposite of that. So one of our agents is going to make on average about 1.75 per deal on average. That's what our typical agent will make, is about 1.75 per deal. But they're going to do about 13 deals a year based off of current trends of what we're looking at. We don't have an exact number. It's pretty damn close. Okay. The average agent nationally is making about 2.7% per side. We're about 1.75. So if we're making 35% less than them per deal, how many deals do they need to do to make the same amount of money as a discount agent? Well, the answer is about 8.5. So I pulled the data. In the greater New Orleans market, there's about 7,000 real estate agents, and exactly 905 of them did at least 9 deals, okay, which is about where you need to be. So at 905 divided by 7,000, that means right at 13% of real estate agents in our market will make more than the average real estate agent that works for a company like mine, 1% List. Kind of crazy, huh? So this should be something that you're considering. If you're not doing at least 9 deals a year, you're making less money than the average agent working at our company. That's just math. Now then, if you're paying for buyer leads, if you're paying a lot of referrals, if you belong to a team, if you're paying Zillow, Realtor.com, any of those things, if you're spending a lot of money to generate your business, then you should look and see what that looks like. Our biggest producer on the year, if you want to look at something crazy, is Drew Wyant. He's out of Columbus, Indiana, and he's sitting at right at 125 to 130 closed on the year. And y'all are going to think this is nuts, but guess what he spends on marketing? $0. Guess how much time he spends grinding and cold calling? 0. He has 0 ISAs that work for him. And most real estate agents, they can't comprehend this. This is Greek to them. There's no way that's possible. But the reason is because they have the industry morals and the industry ideals stuck in their head of what should happen, and what they have all these built-in facts that are not facts at all. And it's not until you hit them with something that makes them think different that they start to really consider outside opportunities and outside choices. One that I always use is just forget real estate for a minute. Forget your real estate agent, because I know that triggers your brain and sets certain things in place that you can't overcome. Imagine you're a lender and you have an interest rate from 2021. So imagine you have like a 2.75 interest rate right now, and every other lender is at 6.5. Do you think you'll do a lot of loans? And they're like, oh yeah, I do a ton of loans. Okay. Do you think you'd have to work hard to find somebody who wants to borrow money? Do you think you'd have to invest a fortune in marketing? Do you think you'd have to canvass an entire neighborhood to try to find a deal? If you have an interest rate that's 4 points better than everybody else's, 4% better than everybody else's, no, you probably not going to have to try too hard to find your deals. And so once they look at that, like, oh, okay, I get it. You're playing a completely different game now. Yeah, we're playing a different game. So if you're an agent, like, this will be a fun end of the year challenge for you. You got 5 days left. Go back and figure out how many deals you did and figure out what you charged on average per deal, how much you had to give your team leader, how much you had to give Zillow or Realtor.com or wherever you got that lead. Back all that out, and then figure out on average what did you make per deal. And then look at it and say, would I have made more if I just charged 1.75 and did 13 deals? But where it gets really interesting, here's where the real fun question comes in. For the agents in my market, for the 905 agents in my market that did at least 9 deals, would they have done a lot more? Would they have made more if they just had a ton of listings? The answer is probably yeah. I'll be making more content on this, but the number one predictor for how successful you will be as a real estate agent is how many houses do you have listed. I mean, I could share my screen and show you my agents that have 20, 30, 40 active listings. I mean, I might as well, I guess. Might as well pull up some of our people while I'm here. I mean, this is, just so you know, this is most of his production in Indiana. This will give you an idea as to what one of our agents really does. But he's really at 125 on the year. I mean, this shows 100 because there's some things that are not in the MLS or in a different MLS, but shows about 100 on the year. Where would he rank? He would rank better than every other solo agent in my market. So he would be, I mean, there's nobody else that'd be close. Like this person who's number 3, they have a team of agents and they're spending a fortune on leads. Same thing with number 4, same thing with number 5. You go on down the list. There's not a single person that would produce as much as this guy does in our market. Not one. And every single agent on this list would do a lot better if they had more listings. Like if you ask them off the record, just say, all right, you listed 20 houses this year at 3%. Would you be more successful if you listed 3 times that many at 1%? Some of them might say they're not willing to do it. Some of them might say, that's not my business model. But I think pretty much all of them would probably admit, they're like, yeah, I'd probably be more successful and wind up making more money in the long run if I just took 3 times the amount of listings by charging 1/3 of the fee. Something to think about. So 'tis the season, lots of agents moving around. Before you just blindly go to the place that's going to offer you the best possible deal, maybe go to the place where you're going to make the most money. And believe it or not, where you're going to make the most money is where you can list houses faster. It's not going to be somebody who's paying for you to go chase buyer leads around. And it's not going to be the place that gives you a marginally better split or cap so you can go buy more leads. It's going to be the group. It's going to be the place you go to that turns the faucet on, just like the fire hose on for listings. And in order to do that, you got to have a better value proposition. You got to be doing something different. So that's the math. If you're not doing not at least 9 deals a year at 2.7%, you're making less than us discounters. How does it make you feel? Does it make you look at things differently? Does it make you consider your life choices a little bit differently when it comes to your career? Maybe it should. Maybe you'd prefer to be busier listing homes. Happy New Year, everyone. Take care.